everybody, and welcome to a tour of Cedar Hill Fire District's Safe House. My name is Dave Tegg. I'm a lieutenant here at the Cedar Hill Fire District, and we're going to go over a few fire safety tips for inside the house. Our first stop today is in our kitchen. We've got a couple of things going on here that are unsafe conditions. Can you find them? All right. If you said we've got a candle left unattended, you'd be right. If you see a candle unattended, what should you do with it? That's right. You should go find an adult and have them blow it out. Right? All right. Since that's still hot, we're going to put it up here out of the way. What's another safety concern that we see? Did you see the open matches laying here? You'd be right again. What should you do with matches to make them safe? An adult should take them and put them away. We're going to put them up here so nobody plays with them. All right, there's one more thing. Can you find it? Did you say the handle hanging off the stove? If you did, you're right. What should we do with the handle sticking off of our stove? Should you move it? No. You should ask an adult to move that. You don't want to bump it or spill something hot on you. Since we're talking about the stove, we all know that a stove either uses electricity or some sort of gas to cause heat to cook our food, right? That heat is not safe for us to play with, right? This is not a toy. Now, sometimes Mommy and Daddy will let you help out cooking or maybe baking cookies in the oven, but you should never do that on your own, right? Good deal. Well, I think we've done a pretty good job in here. Why don't you guys come in here with me and we'll talk some more about calling 911. All right. So now we're in the living room. In the living room, we have a fireplace here. And if you look, we have the ability to turn on our little fire. The problem is, just like in the kitchen, this fire can get very hot. And sometimes hot coals can fall out and cause a possible injury for little guys and gals. So, we recommend that you guys don't play near the fireplace. Always let Mom, Dad, Grandma, or Grandpa, or another adult stoke the fire and do any of the work that's nearby. We'll turn this one off. Now, let's say that something bad were to happen. Do you know what number to call? Did you say 911? Because you'd be right. We have a phone here. It's easy to use. You simply pick it up, dial 911. Whenever you listen, the operator should answer the phone. They'll say something to the effect of, 911, what's your emergency? There's 3 things that you need to know. Number 1, what's your name? They need to know who they're talking to. Well, my name's Dave. 911? Hi, my name's Dave. The second thing you need to know is your address. Do you guys know your address? If you don't know your address, then you need to get with your mom, dad, grandma, or grandpa, or another adult that lives with you and learn your address. It's a good thing to know. Yes, I live at 123 Maple Street. The third thing you need to know is what is the emergency. We'll say that the fireplace was acting up and we've got smoke and fire in the house. 911, we have a fire in our house. 911 will ask you questions and get a little more information to see who they need to send. Don't hang up the phone until they tell you to. Help is on the way. Thank you. Now, we're going to go over a couple of situations and see if we should call 911 or if we should just talk to an adult. Let's say that your dog ran away. Is that something we should call 911 for? No, we don't need to call 911 for that. Mom or Dad or another adult will be able to help you go out and look for the dog. What if Grandma fell out of her chair and said her hip hurts? We should call 911 for that. What about if a scary storm comes through in the middle of the night? Should we jump up and call 911? No. Just because it's a scary storm doesn't mean it's an emergency. You should probably talk with your mom and dad or another adult and see if it's an emergency that you need to call 911 if you're not sure. We've got one more stop. Let's come into the bedroom. So a couple of things we want to talk about when we're coming into the bedroom is whenever we come into bed for the evening, what's the first thing we should do before we get in bed? Close the door. You're right. Why do we want to close the door good and tight? Because by closing the door, we're putting a block in the way in case there were to be a fire. The fire would have a difficult time coming through the door, and the smoke would not easily pass through. Right? So, we close the door, and we lay down to go to sleep, and we wake up in the middle of the night, and we hear the beep, 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 beep of the smoke detectors. What do? Do we get up and freak out? Ah! Of course not. Because we know we get out of bed and we stay low. When we get out of bed, we'll crawl over to the door, and the first thing we'll do is we'll feel it with the back of our hand. Is it warm or is it cold? If the door is cold, that's a good sign. The next thing you want to check is the doorknob with the back of your hand. Is it warm or is it cold? If either the door or the doorknob are warm, you know there's possibly fire just outside the door, and you don't want to open that. If the door's nice and cool, then you can crack the door and look outside. Is there smoke? Is there fire? If yes, close the door. If there's not, proceed out your primary exit route. When we talk about exit routes, we should have two ways out of every room. One, your main exit is typically through your bedroom door and out either the front or back door. But you need to have a secondary way of escape in case that fire is just outside your door. For us, in our bedroom, we have a window. So, it's important for us to know how to properly open and close our window and practice getting out of it in case there's an emergency. Now, let's say that for some reason your window won't open, or that you can't get out of it for some reason. What do? Well, what we want to do is we want to grab a blanket off of our bed. Everybody's got blankets, right? And we'll come back to our door, and we'll lay the blanket down and cover the whole bottom of the door, tucking it in nice and tight. And what we've done is we've created a block so the smoke cannot come underneath the door. And then, once this is blocked, we need to come back to the window and listen for the fire department or another adult. When we see them, we can bang on the window, we can yell, or we can wave something. Anything we can do to draw attention to ourselves. That way, an adult or the fire department can come and rescue us. Whenever you get out of that building, it's important that you have a location to meet your family. For my family, we meet at the big tree in front of the house. Some people, they may meet at the mailbox or possibly at a neighbor's house. Where's y'all's meeting spot? If you don't have one, make sure that you decide on a meeting place that does not move. So, for an example, the big tree in front of the house, it will not move. But if I said, let's go meet at the car, maybe you'll park here, or maybe Dad will be at work with a car, and you won't be able to meet at the car. So, make sure you have two ways of escape. Make sure you close the door before you sleep, and make sure you practice fire safety every day. Thank you guys for coming and seeing us, and stay tuned for our next video.